Hey guys, welcome to another episode of As the Leader Grows podcast. I am your host, Ken Joslin, where we are ridiculously passionate about helping business leaders build confidence, gain clarity, and create community. I've got a treat for you guys today. I've got my new but good friend, Alex Morton, all the way from, well, dude, this dude's everywhere. He's in Portugal, he's in Spain, he's in Vegas, he's in Miami. I can't keep track of where this dude is at and what he's doing. He just hosted a huge conference down in Miami with my good friend, Gary Breck, who's also good friends of his. Alex, dude, welcome to As the Leader Grows, my friend.
Excited to be here, Ken, man. I love your energy, man. Just so much passion, man. I love it.
Come on, man. Hey, take a minute and tell our audience a little bit about who you are, the man, the myth, and the legend, Alex Morton.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm definitely a normal guy. You know, I tell everybody, you know, you see all the stuff in the best-selling books and traveling the world and speaking and stuff, but man, I'm a normal guy. You know, grew up middle-class America over a small town in Bexley, Ohio, like 2 ice cream parlors, 2 pizza shops, right? And as a young kid, I looked at, you know, the wealthy people. I looked at us in the middle, and I looked at people that, you know, I don't want to use the word, you know, broke, but just poor financially. And I said, man, what makes the difference between the people that get to drive a Range Rover and a Mercedes Benz and take 5 vacations a year and everybody else, right? So I was always into like money, success. I was reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad in the 3rd grade. My mom worked for Tony Robbins back in the day. So I was kind of exposed to personal development. And I just made a decision at a young age that I'm going to find out what wealthy people do, and I'm going to go do it. So at 18, I left Ohio. I went to Arizona State, was in the business school for a very short period of time. And I quickly found out that, man, these professors really didn't understand money or how to become, you know, a success in life. So I fell into real estate. A lot of people don't know that. I became a real estate agent at 18 years old. I saw $1 million listing on TV, and I'm like, you know, I look like these guys. They're young like me. Let's go do real estate, right? So I got my license at 18, did that for a little bit. That was kind of my first, like, you know, bite into entrepreneurship. And then I fell into, you know, relationship, social network marketing at 21. And then 13 years later, I've been in 76 countries around the world, helping people, 2 billion in sales and living life on purpose.
Okay, I want to back all the way up to 3rd grade. My boy's reading Think and Grow Rich in the 3rd grade.
Oh, that's great.
Like, dude, what did your friends think about you in the 3rd grade, dude? I mean,
dude, I came home from school one day, no joke, and my dad was working insurance, right? Both my parents were, and my mom would pick us up. He's still at the office, and I walk in the back door. I'll never forget it, man. And I look at, like, when my dad sits where he puts his feet up at night watching TV, and I see Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I want to say The Magic of Thinking Big. It was a long time ago, but I'm like, this is cool. So I'm like reading these, but my friends didn't understand, you know, any of it, but I became obsessed with it. I'll never forget, I was in science class, and I had, it was actually Trump's Think Big and Kick Ass book. No joke. Yeah. And I had it in my science book, and my professor kicked me out into the hallway, but I was just obsessed with learning about success at a very young age, man. No doubt.
I love that. Well, talk to me about that progression from starting, you're reading those things, you go through high school. Like, what were some of the moments? Your mom worked for Tony when you were younger.
Yep.
Like, what talk about that influence? Because as soon as you said that, I'm like there's always success leaves clues. And it's, you know, I've watched your story. We're just relatively new to each other the last few months. Gary Breck is a dear friend of both of ours. You were one of the original investors with Gary and his in Streamline. You guys have been friends for a long time. And obviously Gary's story is unbelievable now. But success leaves clues. Like, walk me through, like, because I definitely want to get to the college story you hit just a minute ago at ASU.
Yeah.
But walk me through some of the things growing up that were kind of aha moments for you, mom working for Tony, that caused you to think different than the normal person from literally a quote unquote Midwestern town.
Yeah. I really give a lot of the success to my mom and my dad, because I remember being a young kid, young boy, right? My mom would always say things, you know, talking about, you know, if you can dream it, you can do it, right? And I remember they would play, I don't know what audio program it was. I think it was Unleash or Awaken the Giant Within, one of those old, cassette tapes. And mom and dad would be playing these suckers. in the kitchen. So I like grew up to Tony Robbins' voice, talking to me. So I think it comes back to the paradigm. I think a lot of people were programmed to fail financially, and I got super lucky, man. And I was programmed to win financially. Another one was Zig Ziglar. I remember hearing Zig's voice coming out of probably a cassette player too, as well. So I was in a household where, we talked about dreaming big. We talked about, working hard, right? My dad dropped out of Oklahoma University, and my mom has a master's degree from Pepperdine. So I grew up with like master's degree, college dropout, and they went on to not become mega millionaires, but they made a couple $1,000,000. So they were programming me and my sister at a very young age. We talked about attitude. We talked about goal setting. We talked about you need to learn how to shake somebody's hand and make eye contact and have confidence.
Yes.
It was like the cheat code, man, at a very young age.
A lot of things that we don't get in school. I tell you, one of the things that for me, Dennis Waitley, my buddy Brent Gove called me back in December. He goes, "Hey, listen, super download. 20 of us are going to Dennis's house in January. So I got to go spend 3 days with, right. Those 20 of us in the table. I'm sitting 3 feet from Dennis, and he's talking about Ronald Reagan, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, all the guys. And he sit there, dude, I'm 5 minutes in, bro, I'm balling.
Wow.
And he goes, I did the eulogies at all their funerals, and I'm the last one left. I think he's 91 when we were there back in January. 3 days, just got to sit there and listen to him.
Incredible.
Man, just the wisdom that came off. So you're growing up that way. You go to college, you get immersed in this big Pac-10 school at ASU.
Oh yeah.
What? Tell me what that was like, man.
Yeah, man, I lost my mind. I went from a Midwest tiny little school. I remember I took the campus visit with my dad, and it took about 15 minutes for me to say, "Dad, I want to come here." We go to the MU, the recreation center, and there's, girls out there tanning by the pool studying. And I'm like, this, girls look a little different over here in Arizona than they do in Columbus, Ohio, right? And I go there, man, I'm 18, and I got into a lot of trouble, man, at 18. I got written up for, just drinking and partying and just being hanging out with the wrong people, doing the wrong stuff. And I eventually got kicked out of the dorms. True story. I got arrested by Tempe Police Department because I was just, a menace to society or whatever. So I came to a point where I'm like, all right, I'm out here in Arizona. I'm having a lot of fun. Grades are suffering. Mom and dad are upset. I'm over here like sleeping on different people's couches now because they kicked me out of the dorms. The business school asked me to leave. So now I'm in communications. So I said, okay, I got to like stop doing these different things. That's what got me into, real estate, and then eventually into network marketing. And I got around some people that had what I wanted. Cause I remember being, broke in Tempe, Arizona, and I would go to Scottsdale and I would sit at Mastro's Steakhouse where all the rich people were eating lunch and dinner. And I couldn't afford to eat there, but I would sit at the bar and I would drink water. And I was just in the environment of, the rich and the wealthy, right? And I got to the point after having conversations, introducing myself, I said, these are people. I'm a person. These are people. I'm a human. This guy's a human too. I just need to figure out what it is they're doing, and I can do it as well. So those were kind of like my aha moments, where kicked out of the dorms, asked to leave the business school, and then seeing beautiful cars and mansions and nice restaurants. And it clicked for me. These are normal people. There's nothing different between me and these guys, man. I just got to learn the rules of money.
I had one of my really good friends is Vic Keller. He had 11 companies successfully acquired by Berkshire Hathaway for an undisclosed amount, which is about $8 billion. And then he served as the CEO for Berkshire Hathaway Automotives for Mr. Buffett for 3 years. He calls him Mr. B. Well, when he came to my mastermind for 3 days in November, he had just left Warren's house on Sunday, flew his jet down from Omaha. Wow. And he made everybody turn their cameras off. He said, no cameras. All my videographers turn their cameras, put your phone face down on the table. And he spent 45 minutes talking about what he had learned from Mr. Buffett in the last 8 years since they had been known each other and he was the CEO.
That would have been a room to be in.
Oh, bro, you kidding me, man? And there was some high caliber people in the room too. And you could have heard a pin drop. But the number one thing he said was, he said, he's a man just like I am.
Yep.
He's just done the same thing, lived by the same principles every day since he was 17 years old. I think it was about 75 years he'd been doing the same exact thing. When you're getting kicked out of everything, bro, you're just jacked everything up. And here you are. What in the world made you say, I'm going to Mastro's and I'm going to sit at the bar and I'm going to watch and learn? What in you made you make that decision?
I always heard the word environment, right? They always say like your environment is more important than your genetics. So, and I think I might have been listening. It was too early for Bob Proctor then, because I didn't meet him until 2011. So it wasn't Bob Proctor, but it was probably somebody on YouTube or some rich person in my life was talking about getting in the right environment for success. And I didn't have a car. You know, when I went to the real estate school, I called discount cap. I'll never forget it, man. I didn't even have a car, and I went and got my real estate license because I said, man, I don't care. Like, I got to go figure out something, because the plan they're giving me and 80,000 other guys is graduate, go get a job, $36,000 a year, you know, 8 to 6. And I'm like, I ain't doing that. Right.
Yeah.
So I had to figure this entrepreneurship thing out, man. No car, networking at Mastro's, man, going to Scottsdale Fashion Square, shaking hands, just whatever I needed to do, I was going to do it. And that was my mentality, because I said, I got to figure this out, because I'm not going to go have someone tell me when I can go eat lunch for the next 50 years of my life.
What was the moment for you, Alex, and after you got your real estate license? What was the moment where you said, I got this, I can be successful?
I think I was sitting down with the two brokers that hired me in real estate, and they were talking to me about, I don't think Josh Altman was on the show yet, but some of these other young guys in LA on the show. And I was asking them, hey man, how much do these guys make? And they said they're making, you know, $5K a deal, $10K a deal. If you sell $1 million home, you can make up to whatever it is, $20, $30, $40,000. So I was expanding my mind to like, okay, there's people already doing it, I can do it too. But I didn't really hit my home run. In real estate, I probably made 20 or 30 grand total, but that was like 400 grand to me, man.
Yeah.
My first real estate commission check was like $600, dude. I probably cried, you know, in happiness. But that laid the foundation for me to then get into, you know, a health and wellness nutritional company. And then I kind of had the foundation set. And when I saw that, and I saw people a little bit older than me making $40,000 a month, I said, this is it. Like, it's a wrap. This is my thing. I'm going all the way to the top. And that's that.
So what did that look like? So you get in network marketing, you started that, you just had this real passion and vision to be able to, you saw the potential and the opportunity sitting in front of you. How did that potential and opportunity change who Alex is?
Well, I got, I guess, introduced to the idea of residual income. Doing something one time and it pays you forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And I got into that, man. And I wasn't good at the start. Like, my first check was $10 because my parents bought a bottle of, you know, vitamin juice. And then month 2, I think, was $20 because my parents bought, you know, another bottle of vitamin juice. But once I learned how that game was working, man, I just found a niche. Like, I said, okay, this network marketing thing, man, my grandpa got pitched Amway, right? In the whatever 50s and 60s. There's never been young people in this thing. So I was really the first person to say, you know what, I'm going to make this cool, this flair, this sexy for young people. And we had this energy drink, and I just went around campuses all over the country. And I told people, stop drinking Red Bull, Rockstar, Monster, 5 Hour Energy, drink this instead. And you can get paid and tell your friends about it. And it took me a while to get going, but we turned about 4 people into almost 100,000 in about 4.5 years.
Wow.
So we kind of revolutionized the industry a little bit, because they never really pitched to younger people. But the young people, man, they're the ones with the crazy amount of energy, and they want freedom just as much as anybody else.
So take me back to that moment. You're in the network marketing. You've got so many things in your mindset. For me, I'm sitting here listening to you, dude, and I'm like going all the way back to Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm going all the way back to Think and Grow Rich. Like, your mindset's just different. Like, you're doing things and taking action, as Uncle G says. You're doing things that other guys just aren't doing. In that network marketing, to walk me through the moment where I know I had the moment when I was in mortgages back in 2001, where I was like, oh my God, I can do this. Oh my God, I can make great. Oh, I want to be a mortgage broker. I don't just want to do this. I want to do this. Walk me through that aha moment that you had going, I'm about to freaking kill it.
So first company convention, Caesar's Palace Convention Center, probably 4,000 people in the room. And I'm sitting like third row, because to sit front row, you got to be making at least $10,000 a month. And I remember coming to that event trying to, I was like the first person there, man. And I was trying to get into the front row, and security guard stopped me. And he said, "Are you, a six-figure earner?" And I said, "Not yet." And he said, "Well, you can't sit up here," because up there they were getting eggs and bacon and biscuits and gravy and coffee and juice. So that really pissed me off. That was my first like, all right, this, I'm never coming to this deal again without sitting in the front. And then I remember sitting there all weekend, just taking notes, listening to every speaker, retired truck drivers and school nurses and single moms. There was one college guy making 40 grand a month. And I remember just crying, thinking like, oh my gosh, like this is it for me, because I looked at this compensation plan thing. There's compensation plans in solar companies and insurance and mortgage, there's always compensation plans, right? And I was looking at this thing like, dang man, 12,000 customers. And this CEO is going to pay me, 80 to 100 grand a month, not a year, a month. And I remember just crying, and I went home, and over the next 12 months, I took my income from about 4K a month to over 40 through just freaking working hard, man.
How was the bacon and eggs and biscuits and gravy the next year?
The next time it tasted really good. The next time it tasted really, really good, So I saw it, the aha moment, crying my eyes out. And my belief was just through the roof, because this is another thing. I went up to every 6 and 7 figure earner that weekend. I would say, "Hey, my name's Alex Moore. I just got into this company. I'm currently making $4,000 a month. Can you give me one tip, one secret?" I went up to every single person. And I looked at my notes when I went home, and every single tip they gave me, they all they worded it differently, but it was all the same stuff. So I said, okay, if this is what it takes, then I'm gonna go do what it takes.
What was the tip, Alex?
It was work hard, believe in yourself, have a positive attitude. It was like a personal development,
Think and grow rich.
That's it, right? And now being 33 and having trained, solar and insurance, all these different types of people, I tell people the foundation of success, it's all the same. Like if you can win here, you take your formula and your method, you can go win over there too. That's why winners win.
Yeah, anywhere. I tell my thing I teach on, I just spoke to, 350, 400 agents at the EXP regional event in Detroit a couple of weeks ago with Michael Valdez, who's the chief growth officer for EXP. And I taught on incremental, not monumental. Small daily disciplined decisions over time always equal monumental results. Success cannot escape you when you do the right things every day. And I've lost 82 pounds in 3 years. Wow. My businesses went from brand new, literally made $1 million our second year. This year, we did 500 grand in revenue, 484,000 in January. And it's just, and I tell people like, what I'm going to share with you, you're going to go, there's no way. I'm like, cause this ain't sexy. Like, this isn't what people want to hear. Like, it's not sexy, but I promise you it works. If you'll show up every single day on the days when you don't want to show up, on the days when your competitors and your friends, they're like, nah, I'm going to take a day off today. No. My ass is getting up at 4 a.m. and my morning routine and my daily routine are solid. And I know over time, it's going to bring me some unbelievable results.
That's it.
What have been, Alex, what's been some of your favorite moments in the past few years doing it? Because you said 33 years. I'm like, damn, he could be my kid. Like you're still a baby. What's been some of your favorite moments in the past 10 years walking through this journey that you've walked through?
Yeah, I think the relationship I was able to build with Bob Proctor. We met in 2011. We met at a water fountain outside of a room. He saw me speak for the first time. I didn't know who he was. And we connected, and then I became, his mentee over the next decade. So I think that was a very, very special relationship and bond. But I think just making it and, getting to the point where mom and dad say, we're proud of you. I was able to do some things for them, and, and it's past just buying them cars and paying off different things and stuff like that. It's just when your parents are like, we're so proud of you. It just means a lot. And then I got to turn to just all the people I've been able to help, man. Like working with, I got a young guy in Costa Rica, literally met him. He had $1,000 in his bank account. He's made almost $8 million with me. in the last 5-6 years. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on and on, but seeing the effect worldwide, being in Lima, Peru, and people are running up and saying, can you sign my book? They bought my book in Spanish, just different things. Right. And when I was broke and I heard all this stuff, growth, contribution, giving back, I'm like, yeah, man. I'm trying to pay my freaking rent Friday, dude. I got plenty of time to worry about other people. I need to get mine right now, but it's true. And the fulfillment you get, and I know you know this better than anybody else, the fulfillment you get when someone said, hey, man, I was depressed and I saw your YouTube video, or, man, before joining this company, I was smoking every day, drinking every night, going nowhere fast, and my life completely changed. The fulfillment you get when you actually affect somebody else's life it's indescribable. It really is.
Dude, the one thing I love about you is your authenticity. And again, both of us are friends with Gary. You mentioned him earlier. I had an event last October. It's been a year and a half ago at Brad Lee's space. Brad's a good buddy of mine. They're in Vegas. I was in Vegas.
Yeah, I'm with him tomorrow.
Yeah, like 50. Tell him I said, what's up? About 50, 55 guys. And I heard Gary say this in my event. Gary said they've done scientific studies with the electromagnetic frequencies we emit as humans. The highest frequency we emit is authenticity. And it's when we have a belief and a deep passion about that subject. And that's where authenticity comes from. The most sought after frequency from human beings is also authenticity. And that's what I love about you, dude. When you talk about this and you're talking about the guy in Costa Rica and you're talking about all these guys, like, it's real. You can feel it in you. You sense that authenticity in you. Dude, you got a new book coming out. Talk to your audience about that. And what's it about? How excited are you about that?
Yeah, I'm excited. It's funny. I got this sitting next to me. So this is my first book, Dorm Room to Millionaire. Look at that freaking porcupine hand, right? And Bob actually challenged me to write this at one of his masterminds in front of everybody. He said, will you write a book like after you made your first $1 million? So I started it in Toronto. I finished it, and that went out a couple of years ago. And then I always had this idea of, 30 million at 30. I always said, when I could earn 30 million bucks at 30 years old, I'm gonna write my second book. So I wrote The Secret to Knowing It's Already Done. And it's just basically what happened since 2016 up until now. And, all the experiences, all the countries, and really going from, we only talk about money so people pay attention, right? But it's going from, earning a couple million to becoming, this multi-deca millionaire or whatever. But it's the human psychology. It's the mindset. It's, like you said, the daily methods of operation, the incremental things that equal monumental success. It's kind of all of that packaged in my own words, my own flair, my own stories. And it's going well, man. The Kindle version launched and it hit Wall Street Journal #2 when it dropped. And then the physical book is going to launch, I want to say, end of the month. So I'm excited for people to get it in their hands, man, read it, and hopefully it changes their life.
We'll get the link. We'll get the link because we'll drop this in about 3 or 4 weeks, which will be right about your time your book drops. And obviously, we'll share and help promote it and everything with you as much as we can. What would you say to entrepreneurs? We talk a lot about building confidence, gaining clarity, and creating community. What would you say as far as confidence? Like, what's the number one thing some entrepreneurs, they're listening to you and they're like, well, you're an anomaly. Well, you're different. What would you say to them? They're struggling, or let's say they're at 6 figures and they're wanting to crack 7 figures, or they're at 7 figures and wanting to get to multiple 7 figures, or they've never even made it to 6 figures. Alex, what would be the one thing you would say to them today?
Yeah, I think confidence comes down to a knowing. And I think the knowing comes from your belief system, and your belief system is created by the things you see, hear, and experience. That's why I went to Mastro's when I was 19 years old, broke as a joke, because I needed my belief system to elevate. So I needed to see my goals. So I think people should, number one, write down their goals. Sounds a little old school, sounds a little Jim Rohn, but I think something magical happens. There you go. When you write down your goals. And we speak it into existence, right? I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm earning $10,000 a month, $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month by December 31st, 2023, right? So you're seeing your goals, you're hearing your goals, and then you have to ask yourself, what experiences can I create in my life to meet the right people, to let the universe show me what's really possible? And I think it's getting to events. You do a ton of events. I did this Break the Code event, this past weekend in January or past January. And those are the things that I went to network, like going to masterminds, going to UPW with Tony, walking on fire twice, going to Bob's events. Like that's where you meet like-minded people and you build relationships. And a lot of those relationships, they turn into business and success and fulfillment. So, for you to get, I need to gain confidence. What do? You need to go put yourself in uncomfortable situations and you will elevate through them and you will grow. And over time, little wins, your self-confidence will improve. And another thing with that is I tell people, listen, you got to build your self-image, build the person you want to become in your mind. Right? If you're making $10,000 a month right now, what are you wearing? How are you talking, walking, shaking hands? What are you doing? When are you waking up? What are you eating? How much water are you drinking every single day? And be that person now. That's what I did at 21 when I got into network marketing. I emulated people making 80 to 100 grand a month, and I became that person when I was making $100 a month.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, if you want to, people say, how do you get in some of the rooms you get in? And I said, when you act like you belong in the room, you'll get in the room. When you act like you belong in the room, you'll get in the room. I literally, in my planner that I created, in the bottom right-hand corner, it says, my quote, get in rooms with people who think bigger than you do.
That's it.
Like the more I get around some of the people that I get around, it literally blows the lid off my mindset. And I can believe God at a different level that I could not, it wasn't even feasible, or I couldn't even conceptualize what that looks like until you get around people that are doing it. And I've shared this story. My best friend's Persian. He lives in Calabasas. And I was out there this year and he goes, what's your goal this year? I said, I want to make $1 million. And Jeff leans over and he puts his hand on my knee. He goes, a month or a week? I said, no, dude. I said, you don't understand. I said, I want to make $1 million this year. I want to do, my goal for the company is 5.192 million. I want to clear $1 million this year by myself. And he just leaned over in that real nice Persian accent. He put his hand back on my knee and he goes, a month or a week? And I just started laughing because I'm like, oh, I got you, bro. I got you. Because he just wouldn't let me think at the level I was thinking. He was like, no. I want you to see this. Like, this is what I want you to think.
I love it. I got a similar experience with that too. I was on Power Players way back in the day with Grant when he was in a tiny little office. This is on YouTube. And I was so pumped up and excited, man. And Grant, he'll really, hit you in the gut. And I made 800 grand that year. And he literally on camera is telling me baby money. He's like, baby money, baby money, baby money. I mean, he's like, you got to think big, dude. 800 grand a year, you guys, dude, you can't even go eat dinner at 800 grand a year. And I'm sitting there like, you got to be kidding me, man. I walking in here and he's just, but you know what? I left that Miami little office pissed off. I'm like, maybe he's right. Maybe 800 grand a year. Maybe I need to switch that to month. So you're right, man. I love that. Get in rooms where with people that think bigger than you. Dude, that could be, that's probably the biggest X factor I've heard in a while. Cause it's
relationships. True. It's always, I tell people it's always relationships. Always relationships, man. If you can collect great relationships, and Alex, I tell people my main keynote I give is great leaders want something for people, not from people. And when you want something for people and you're just like, Alex, what can I do to help you? Gary, what can I do to help you? Vic, when you get around the people that we get to get around, when you do stuff to add value to them and you don't want it, it's Jim Rohn, my favorite Jim Rohn quote, helping other people get what they want. And eventually you'll get what you want.
That's it. That's it.
Dude, last advice or words for our audience, my friend.
I would say 2023 right now, sitting here, you can look at the external world and you see a lot of chaos. You might see a lot of confusion in America, abroad, with the inflation and the political landscape. I would just tell everybody, you can't let the external negative and chaotic energy influence your internal set point, right? If you want something in your life, you need to clarify it, get super clear on it, set the goal, and then go find someone that has it and reverse engineer it. And then get to work. I love the law of attraction. I love Bob's teachings. It changed my life. It helped me do the things I've been able to do. But I know for a fact, without action, nothing's going to happen in your life. Yeah. It's easy to pray and pray and pray and pray and pray, right? You see it every Sunday and Saturday and Friday, all the different religions, pray. But then you go home and you do nothing. The blessings aren't coming to your doorstep, man. You got to go out there and take action. And I will say, with all this chaos going on, there is insane amounts of opportunity for you and me to go out there and create massive amounts of wealth and massive amounts of impact, no doubt.
Jim Rohn, speed increases focus. I'm telling you, when you move, and Grant always talks about taking massive action. It's been one of the things, he's helped me with over the past 3 years is just act. Just get in. I heard Sharon and I spoke at an event together with Tim Story a couple of years ago. It's been my favorite quote that I've heard. Sharon co-authored Rich Dad Poor Dad, super good friend of mine and mentor. And I heard her say this. She said, "You don't need magic, you need motion." She said, "You don't need magic, just get in motion." When you start acting, and then Jim Rohn, speed increases focus. I'm telling you, when you do that, things start happening. Things become more clear. Relationships that you need in your life start crossing your path that will absolutely blow you away. Dude, we're going to have part 2 of this. We're going to have to connect and do part 2.
Let's do it. A lot of fun. Really good questions too, man. I love the shows where it's like there's no outline. You just go. I think people get the most value out of those.
Yeah, dude. Well, listen, man, I'm praying for you. I know you got a ton going on. Books coming out. The books. Do you have a date on the book drop?
I'm gonna call my publisher right after this call, so I'll get that info to you.
We'll have it, guys. Listen, when we publish this podcast, we'll put it in the be 3 weeks or so when we get this done. So I'll put that whole deal in there, your link to your book, the whole 9 yards, and man, we'll help you get that out there. Are you? If you got a goal for your book, what are you trying to hit?
Well, it hit. I mean, I'll be honest. We wanted to go for New York Times bestseller. You got to do it in the first 2 weeks. My publisher said so. We didn't hit New York Times, but we did hit number 2 on Wall Street Journal. Number three was Goggins.
Yeah.
My network marketing people, man, they download those books, man. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I love it, dude. That's good company to be in, though.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I'm proud of you, man. I'm going to pray for you too. You're a great, genuine human being. So if you're listening to this podcast, man, Ken's the real deal. Holyfield, no doubt.
Appreciate it, Alex. Hey, guys, thank you for joining us for another episode of As a Leader Goes podcast. If this episode has added value to you, do me a favor, hit subscribe. Second thing, snap a screenshot, share it with Alex and I. He's got about 85 million followers on Instagram. He'll give you a shout out on IG as well. But guys, thanks for joining us. See you next time on As the Leader Grows.